Bro, it's not even Blue Anon just going crazy, for the record. A lot of groups are going crazy. Right-wingers are going crazy on the story as well. It seems nobody trusts any info that's been released on this guy. Yes. This always happens whenever there is an issue of national importance. There is an issue of global importance, and this story has obviously become like a global issue. So there's a lot of misinformation flying around. This also happens with like the partisan media landscape that exists. People make up their own minds, right? People make up their own minds about like what took place, what transpired. There's also one very important aspect here, and that pertains to complete societal collapse in some ways, the erosion of the infallibility of institutions, the erosion of the confidence people have in these institutions, partially due to people like Kash Patel being the head of the FBI, partially people being propped up into positions of power and positions of prominence in this administration simply due to their loyalty to Donald Trump rather than their competence. And that's specifically why a lot of people understandably are like, I don't really trust whatever you're saying. Even Republicans are having a hard time trusting what Kash Patel has said. And I think it's because, you know, Kash Patel seems very untrustworthy. It's an unfortunate reason, but not only is he incompetent, but he also literally looks like he's lying all the time. He could be telling you that he's drinking a glass of water and you'd be like, I don't think that's water. I just don't believe it. You know, no matter what, he could be telling you the most basic shit. Kash Patel could be like 2 + 2 = 4. And I'd be like, I don't know about that. Is that actually the case? I thought that was the case for my whole life, but now I'm not so certain. He just looks so untrustworthy, so suspicious, so nervous at all times. He looks perpetually flustered. And I think that is playing a role in why people are just like, I don't really know if I can trust you. And that paired up with his incompetence has led to a lot of people going, this is crazy. This is not real. Many people are saying the text messages that were revealed in the preliminary investigation are fake, for example, for different reasons. I'm going to be talking about what those reasons are. It's kind of funny how the right is also at odds with this, but let's take a look at the rest of the story.
Tyler James Robinson.
This was Tyler Robinson's first court appearance since being arrested on suspicion of murdering political activist Charlie Kirk, fatally shot while speaking at a university campus in Utah a week ago.
Counting or not counting gang violence? Great.
The 22-year-old appeared virtually from a special unit at Utah County Jail, wearing a vest designed to stop him from self-harming.
Caused the death.
Charlie Kirk was a hugely influential ally of Donald Trump with a massive following online. Prosecutors allege Robinson confessed to killing him in a hidden note to a roommate left under a keyboard.
The roommate looked under the keyboard and found a note that stated, quote, I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it. Police found a photograph of this note. After reading the note, the roommate responded, what? You're joking, right? I gotta grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I am sorry to...
Bro, this, like, I'm sorry. Some people are criticized. Some people are suspicious over the veracity of these text messages because they're like, no Zoomer talks like this. And I kind of understand that suspicion. But my suspicion over it is because he engages in cop speak on numerous occasions. And also on top of that, it plugs every hole in the investigation. Like, it is far too fortuitous. Like, he literally at one point is like, remember when I was doing the bullet casings? Lemao, I love writing memes on bullet casings that I will inevitably use in an assassination of a high-profile political speaker. It's like, that makes no sense. Like, what level or type of autism makes you do cop speak? I don't get it. It's written by like a 45. It sounds like he wrote it. Like, those text messages sound like he wrote it like he was a 45-year-old cop. You know what I mean? Hey, lover, I have tactically ascertained that there is a vehicle engaging in a kinetic situation near the drop site that I will inevitably retrieve the weapon from. Like, I'm not Mr. Everything is fake. I'm not Mr. I'm suspicious. There's a grand conspiracy here at all. And I've actually been quite critical of a lot of the different conspiracies that have been flung around in this issue. People saying he's a groiper. People saying, you know, that this is Trantifa. People claiming that this was Israel doing the assassination. Things of that nature. But like it just sounds very, very weird. Like the text message back and forth is so strange. Okay. Dude was a near genius though, not a typical kid. I mean, sure, he clearly wasn't a typical kid, but the cop speak is odd, no? And not just the cop speak, but just basically almost every text message exchange that they showed is pertinent to the investigation. And I'm not alone in this suspicion. Steve Bannon has also raised the same concerns. Candace Owens has raised similar concerns. Matt Walsh has raised similar concerns. Like, these are not people that I am in agreement with at all, okay? You don't get it? This guy's from Utah and raised Mormon. This is how they all talk. They all talk like FBI agents. A Mormon white boy texting like that is probably the least surprising thing. Like I said, it's just odd. It's just a strange text message back and forth. Very odd. Like my main reason for being incredibly suspicious of the text messages is because of the contents of the text messages. The contents of the text messages literally serve to plug every hole in the investigation. Like, it's far too convenient, right? I have a policy where I think if something looks too convenient, it might be a little manipulated potentially. Like, at least like have a healthy dose of scrutiny on this, right? Matt Walsh said, I am leaning very strongly towards the theory that this text exchange was scripted as a way to absolve the boyfriend. It's almost exactly what Walter White did at the end of Breaking Bad. This feels like a strategy they cooked up from watching too much TV. Ironic, because the only way that you can present this is by talking about a television show that you have consumed, which is, I think, more, it's more revealing about your mindset, Matt Walsh. Maybe, perhaps you have watched too much TV. So I said half the right thinks the messages are fake because it doesn't implicate the trans person. The other half think the shooter is a patsy because it was Israel that killed Charlie Kirk. I will say the text messages are too perfectly plugging holes for the investigators. Unnatural. Yeah, this feels like Breaking Bad. Guy who's only seen Breaking Bad. Yeah, I know it's not a back and forth. There are ellipses in the convo because it's cut together. The cop speak is consistent with his upbringing. The rest of how he talks is consistent with being a Reddit kid. Also, the messages seem to cover all the bases because they're cut together from a longer convo and used to justify the charges. No, I understand that. I know that. That's not like an unnatural conversation that just took place like that. I know they cut the most valuable aspects of it. Like saying that there is a squad car near the drop point or, you know, shit like that. Even bringing up the fact that he like was stamping the bullets, like stamping the casings. You know, like that's strange. That's a strange ass thing. Like, why did you do it? I did it because some type of hate cannot be met. Some type of hate can't be reasoned with. Like, what the? It's just he did a if I did it. You know, like who the would talk like that? You guys are on the one hand saying this was like a exemplary kid. And was a real go-getter and was able to literally successfully pull off this assassination and then escape, right? But also simultaneously, his text message conversations are revealing everything. You know what I mean? Like he's just like, yeah, I did this because I am Antifa. Like it's just a very convenient narrative that you can kind of point at. It doesn't go too far. Like he's not like, I am Antifa and I was radicalized by watching leftist content creators who I think should probably go to prison because of their radicalization that they put me through. They duped me, right? Like he didn't do that, but it's everything short of that. Do you feel me? Do you understand? It's just odd. I'm not one of these guys that just like immediately says this is fake, especially because especially because I just like that's not how these things work. You know what I mean? There is obviously a level of healthy scrutiny that you can apply to official organs of justice. There's obviously always going to be like some around, but it's just strange. It's just strange. That's all I'm saying. It's a strange thing because it's a very convenient narrative.
Involve you.
In the text exchange, Robinson's roommate asks him why he did it.
Why? Why did I do it? Yeah, I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. This TikTok goes over what you're
Robinson's
saying.
text messages have just been released. I mean, they are so egregiously bad. It's almost laughable. How dumb do they think we are? Tell me that this is how a 22-year-old communicates with their boyfriend back and forth after they just body somebody. Drop what you're doing. Look under my keyboard. Whereas conveniently a note, I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk. I'm going to take it. What's the point of leaving this note to your boyfriend, but then texting them to admit to it anyways? Doesn't add up, not logical, stupid. This is kind of believable, like, oh, he's keeping tabs online. Why? Why did I do it? Yeah. So no phone calls back and forth, no FaceTime, enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I ain't able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. This sounds like a book written by...
Yeah, bro, it just feels as though, how do I say this? It feels too convenient, okay? Like, that's it. Because there are other Discord messages where you've seen the way he talks, where he's like, I'm EP, right? Like, there are Discord messages with that kind of show the pattern of how he communicates with other people, you know, talking about like cat memes or talking about the weather or saying he's EP. And then here he's like, this is me. I did the assassination of Charlie Kirk because I hate, and some hate can't be negotiated with. I was going to retrieve the murder weapon by circling back, but there was a squad car that was placed around, you know? I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I am able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it. How long have you been planning this? A bit over a week, I believe. I can get close to it, but there's a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it. I'm wishing I'd circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. I don't even know if it had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. I worry about prints. Like, the people saying like old man is like weird. I don't think that's that weird. I think him saying old man, he's Mormon, okay? He's Mormon, he's Utah. Even if he's Gen Z, like that part, it doesn't come across as suspicious to me. Do you see what I mean? Like I'm more so weirded out by like how much, let's just say this is exactly what a 50-year-old investigator would hope to find. Like, it's the perfect chain of back and forth correspondence between the potential suspect and the immediate loved one of the potential suspect. Not to say that it's fake. I'm not saying that at all. I'm simply saying it's very strange. He's like, I have planned the perfect crime and I will never get caught. Now let me outline all the steps I am doing. A bit over a week, I believe.
A 45 to 50-year-old going to attempt to retrieve it again. And then the best part, how long have you been playing this? A bit over a week. Before, they was just saying that there was more than 20 people that could possibly be involved, that this looked like a network that was all helping out to take out Charlie. Now it's just solo dolo for a week. And I was like, oh yeah, I already knew what I was about to do. I circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got back to my vehicle. First time we're hearing about a vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. That sentence right there sounds like no 22-year-old I have ever heard in my entire life. I have to abandon it and hope they don't find prints. How the will I explain losing it to my old man? Only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. This is conveniently and very weirdly so detailed down to the wrapped in the towel thing, and then the old man repeat. And it's just like, there's no way you think or believe that anybody with a brain that knows anybody around this age is going to believe that they typed all this out while on the run after just bodying somebody for the first time ever. He wants to believe that. Right after that, he starts talking about the engravings on the bullets, and he needs to explain messages.
Remember how I was engraving bullets? That's the one. Okay? That's the one. That's the weirdest thing. That is objectively the weirdest thing to say in that moment. It is so bizarre. Remember how I was engraving bullets? The messages are mostly a big meme. If I see notices bulge ooh woo on Fox New, I might have a stroke. All right, I'm gonna have to leave it. That really sucks. Why would he, like, what? Do you think maybe his fan was telling him what to say? No, I don't know. I don't know how, what caused him to write this kind of shit unprompted. Also, he says, notices bulge, ooh, woo, even though the bullets say OWO, but like, I think that's a distinction without a difference. I don't think it was, I don't think it's that I don't think that's ultimately that consequential. Because like many people also say ooh, right? Like that's what people, that's what I thought it was. I just don't get it. Muhammad said, Tyler Robinson messages read like those IDF recordings of Hamas members being like, did you see that rocket we shot at our own hospital? We're so evil, ooh woo. I mean, that's what it felt like to me too. You are old. OWO and ooh woo are two different meanings. OWO is surprise, meanwhile ooh woo is a cute way. Oh, guys, stop. I don't think that's that important of a distinction, man. I think y'all are you trying to say that ooh woo and OWO are the same thing? It's extremely different from one another. Like, bro, your entire fan base takes that shit seriously. Let's not pretend. Okay, I don't give a shit what my entire fan base takes seriously. That's never stopped me from telling you what I think. And if something is inconsequential, I will call it out.
Are mostly just a big meme. Notices balls, ooh woo. He only mentions that one with the trans ideology. None of the other bullets. Just the one that has this trans joke. So convenient. How funny. Then mentions Fox News. I might have a stroke, all right? I'm going to have to leave it. That really sucks. ... I mean, people, it's like they really think we are stupid as Y'all wonder, why would somebody that's extreme left-wing be watching Fox News for updates? Would they be watching CNN or something? Or do you guys just not think that lie through? You know? I don't know. Judging from today, I'd say Grandpa's gun does just fine. I think the scope was like 2K. Why the f would he mention that out of all times? Delete this exchange. My dad wants a photo over the rifle. Oh, that's convenient. Since Trump got into office, my dad has been pretty die-hard MAGA. He just so conveniently added in there. And these people are dating. So the person you're dating didn't understand the memes or the jokes. Didn't know your dad was MAGA, even though you're supposedly dating each other and in a trans relationship. It never got brought up where he's like, oh, what would your parents think of this? You guys AI these texts, or did you just have like some fake old guy that say he's an expert at creating text messages who actually has never talked to a 21-year-old or a 22-year-old in like the last 20 years?
Is definitely strange. Okay, is definitely strange. Doesn't make quite a bit of sense. And I guess I'm not the only one who considered the text messages to be like a little too convenient. And like I said, some on the right are unhappy. Some on the right are unhappy because they think it doesn't they think it doesn't like criminally hold the trans roommate liable. Okay. And Matt Walsh's assessment on it is that, you know, it doesn't implicate the trans roommate enough, and therefore the text messages are faked, but also not faked by the FBI, but instead faked by, you know, the shooter and the partner, right? And then others just think it's totally made up because the shooter is not the real shooter at all, but instead a patsy. And it's actually, the shooter is not the shooter at all, but instead is a patsy, and it's actually Israel that killed Charlie Kirk because they think that Charlie Kirk was any moment now going to come out and reveal that he was anti-Israel, which would have brought about this wave, I guess, of anti-Israel sentiment to the Gen Z right, which there's already tremendous discontent towards Israel in the Gen Z right anyway. So, I mean, there's a majority opinion against Israel amongst the Gen Z.
To which he replied, I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. He went on to speak about his dad, saying since Trump got into office, he'd been pretty die-hard MAGA. The exchange ends with the pair sharing concern for one another before Robinson pleads with his roommate not to talk to the media.
No.
The roommate, who hasn't been named, is cooperating with the police. Tyler Robinson's arrest followed a 33-hour manhunt. His father encouraged him to surrender after recognising his son from images released by the police. Robinson hasn't entered a plea to the 7 charges he faces, which include committing a violent crime in the presence of children and aggravated murder.
Join me in welcoming the next Vice President of the United States.
It's alleged Robinson targeted Charlie Kirk because of his political expression. Bullet casings found with the rifle used in the shooting are engraved with anti-fascist slogans.
We plan on designating Antifa finally a domestic terror organization.
We're just relitigating 2016 over and over again forever, I think. We are doomed. We are desperate to relitigate 2016 forever. Anti-fascism is not an organization. There is no organizational structure. Anti-fascism is an ideology. Anti-fascism is a movement. It's an act. Okay? There is no like Antifa. And therefore, there is no way to tackle it. Fascism requires organizational structure and discipline. Anti-fascism does not. Okay? People engage in acts of anti-fascism, but it doesn't work in the same way. There's no like 3%ers or the Proud Boys that are of an anti-fascist variety. There's no CEO of anti-fascism. Okay? This hasn't stopped dumbass Republicans and even some dumb liberals from going along with this narrative. And it certainly was heating up in the 2016 era, and they're basically bringing it back, right? They're bringing it back big time. That is, of course, by design. It's vague, and I think many of these guys also understand that it's just like an action that people take so they can say anyone and everyone is Antifa, okay? Because technically there is no real RICO charges that you could present or real terrorism charges that you could present towards people who are anti-racist, for example, and engaging in an act of counter-protest against like fascist mobilization in their neighborhoods or whatever. Because there is no organizational structure, they can just say everyone is Antifa, because technically anyone who is anti-fascist, myself included, and many of you as well, are a part of the organizational structure that they've designed of Antifa. It's very stupid. Also, there is the other side of the story, which is, what are you if you are anti-fascist? That means, I guess, you are pro-fascist, right? It's just another thing that a lot of people basically have recognized. Like, one of the most organized anti-fascist acts was conducted by the Allied forces in World War II. That was Antifa. That was an anti-fascist action. Okay? So clearly, it's not a real thing.
Well, it's something I would do, yeah.
Anti-fascist groups are increasingly the target of President Trump. It's thought his team could soon introduce an executive order to combat hate speech. He also wants to use a law known as RICO to bring racketeering charges against left-wing groups he's accused of promoting violence.
So help you God.
FBI Chief Kash Patel was asked about that at a Senate hearing as he defended his handling of the investigation into Charlie Kirk's assassination.
I would ask, would it aid your ability to prosecute these matters if Congress passed into law the Stop Funders Act and if rioting was added to the list of predicate offenses for RICO?
Yes.
There's no mention in the court documents that Tyler Robinson was linked to any such groups. Prosecutors say they'll seek the harshest punishment possible.
I am filing a notice of intent to seek the death penalty. I do not take this decision lightly, and it is a decision I have made independently.
Tyler Robinson will next appear before court on the 29th of September.
Mr. Robinson, I invite you to join us at that time.
After sleeping on the text exchange released by the prosecutors, you guys, I just want to say I'm calling bullshit on it. I do not think these are legit, and I'm not alone. There are bipartisan calls right now that what the prosecutors received from the FBI is total bullshit. It's not making sense. Put this up, Kylie. I am still okay, my love. Now, I have a 22-year-old son. He doesn't speak this way. A little while longer yet is another quote from the letter. Till we died of old age. Grab my unseen. A bit over a week. And then he refers to a squad car. He uses the phrase circle back. He refers to his car as a vehicle. This is just, there's something incredibly fishy about this. I do not trust Kash Patel's FBI. He's a conspiracy theorist. Dan Bongino is a conspiracy theorist. They had podcasts where they trash talked the FBI for 4 years, which was their audition to get this job. Their number one thing is that they are Trump loyalists. I'm just not buying that this kid texted, ever since the election, my dad's been hardcore MAGA. If he and this roommate were in a romantic relationship, why do you have to say that? That would be assumed. Why are you giving all these details about changing clothes? I'm just telling you guys, it stinks to high heaven. I'm not buying it. I don't trust anything that this administration puts out. They immediately, here's one of the main reasons as well, aside from knowing that 22-year-olds don't text like this. One of the main reasons is immediately after Charlie Kirk's murder, there was a organized, coordinated messaging attack on the right, that this was left-wing ideology, that these were leftists that did this. And then within 12 hours, it had swollen into left-wing transgender terror cells. That's what, before they even had this guy. And here's another tell in this letter, in the text exchange. He says, the roommate allegedly says, I thought they caught the guy. And then Robinson responds, that was some old crazy dude. So let me get this straight. You're worried about the rifle that you reassembled while you're changing clothes and you're texting all these details to your...
I'm 22 and I called my girlfriend my love. Yeah, no, that part is not that suspicious. I don't think that is the part that invites scrutiny. I think the part that invites scrutiny is where he says, remember when I was actually doing the bullet casings? Ha ha. I wrote those memes on the bullet casings. It's making me lose my mind every time I hear the notices bulge ooh woo on Fox News. Remember? It's just like, what do you... Like, what does that, how does that come up in any conversation at all? Like, try to put yourself in the mindset of either of these people in this back and forth, and you will realize how crazy that sounds. It comes across like he's basically tying himself back to this crime.
Your roommate, but you're also logged into your phone analyzing, and you know that some guy was picked up and then released. I don't know that I even knew that at that time. And I'm not trying to allegedly stash a murder weapon. I'm calling bullshit. I don't believe this for a second.
I agree with you. It's too convenient, given what you said. The immediate narrative was it was a leftist trans person, but he didn't fit the narrative. White, Christian, MAGA,
Mormon.
It did not fit their narrative. And that's never stopped Donald Trump from lying or corruption before. So why should it now?
And moving along, I want to highlight this tweet from Hasan Piker. He says, half the right thinks the messages are fake because it doesn't implicate the trans person. So there's a bunch of people that believe that this is wrong because the messages provide cover for the alleged trans roommate. The other half think the shooter is a patsy because it was Israel that killed Charlie Kirk. Hasan, a leftist, says, I will say the text messages are too perfectly plugging holes for the investigators and unnatural. And what I'm seeing here in Hasan's tweet, you guys, is bizarre bipartisan support. And to fight this fascist regime, it's going to require this. It is going to require people on the far right that have these podcasts and people on the far left to save our Constitution and our First Amendment. And this is the exact same thing that all of these bots and the administration are trying to prevent us from doing. Let's hear from Matt Walsh what he says about this. This is a far right anti-trans nut job. I am leaning very strongly towards the theory that this text exchange was scripted as a way to absolve the boyfriend. So his big thing is he's anti-trans. It's almost exactly what Walter White did at the end of Breaking Bad. This feels like a strategy they cooked up from watching too much TV. So this is the far right anti-trans movement. He's calling bullshit on it. Hasan Piker's calling bullshit on it. Jennifer and Pumps are calling bullshit on it. I'm calling bullshit. Next up, we have Steve Bannon of the War Room. He's not buying it. Play the clip.
This is presented in Utah. I'm not buying all of it. I'm particularly not buying those text messages. It just seems too stilted, too much like a script, actually a bad script.
We've always said that this administration is incompetent. And this is the highlight of this incompetence. But what's so sad about this is incredibly dangerous. This is a wild time to live in the United States, and they have eroded the institution so much that within 9 months, I don't believe an effing word coming out of the FBI. Not one word, because Cash Money Patel is blindly loyal to the cult leader. And then behind the cult leader, you've got the failed drag queen, smoky eye sociopath, Little Smokey. And then it gets even darker. You get to Palantir, you get Elon Musk, you get to these very dark forces. There are people on the far right that see this. They see that people that are more powerful, with more money, with more nefarious intents than Matt Walsh and Steve Bannon, they see that they are sucking up to Trump, and they have the bank account that Trump is impressed with. And so there is a very weird time right now where we all need to focus on, because I believe we're at a precipice. I believe it's going to take some level of bipartisan voices to save this democracy. And I'm starting to see that this could possibly happen, because if the right wing is calling bullshit on the FBI that they wanted to take over, this is a window that we cannot close the door on. Here's Candace Owens.
I'll be honest. I don't think, I think Candace Owens and like Nick Fuentes and Matt Walsh and Steve Bannon would love for people like myself to be deplatformed and maybe even arrested. I don't even believe for a brief moment. I think they're farming the discontent. I don't think there's any like higher priority that they hold. Like my consistent anti-Zionism is not something that they care about. Like their anti-Israel opinions